Recording in progress. Recording in progress.
All right, good morning, everyone. Let's call court to order. Today is Tuesday, June 3rd, 2023. It's 9 a.m. Proof of posting, please.
The agenda was posted on Thursday, May 29, 2025 at 4:20 p.m.
All right, thank you. Let's briefly stand for a moment of silence, and then we'll have a pledge to the flag led by Veteran Service Officer Steve Hernandez. Thank you very much. All right, at this time, if there's any members of the audience who want to speak to the court on business matters, please do so at this time. All right, seeing none, going to under D, under proclamations, under D1 is proclamation declaring June as Elder Abuse Awareness Month. Dustin, if you'll read that into the minutes.
Judge, can y'all hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, I've been having some technical issues. All right, give me 1 second.
Okay.
All right, this is a proclamation of the McLennan County Commissioners Court declaring June as Elder Abuse Awareness Month. Whereas older adults and people with disabilities of diverse backgrounds contribute to the well-being of McLennan County by working, caregiving, volunteering, and actively preserving customs, rituals, and traditions. And whereas, as we age, we build momentum by accumulating knowledge, experience, insight, and wisdom that can be shared to enrich our community. Whereas abuse of older adults and people with disabilities is a community concern affecting thousands of people across Texas. And whereas there were 123,852 reports of abuse of older adults and people with disabilities in Texas in 2024. And whereas abuse against older adults and people with disabilities is grossly underreported because of social stigma, embarrassment, and fear. And whereas adult abuse affects men and women of all income and ability levels, all cultural and ethnic backgrounds, and all communities. And whereas elder abuse is everyone's business, it's important to strengthen our efforts to prevent, report, and address elder abuse. Therefore, be it proclaimed, the McLennan County Commissioners Court declares the month of June 2025 as Elder Abuse Awareness Month in McLennan County and urges all residents to work together to reduce abuse and neglect of older adults and people with disabilities. Be it further proclaimed, a copy of this proclamation be made a permanent part of the minutes of the Commissioners Court. Judge?
All right, thank you. Is anyone here to accept that? Okay, good, good. All right. Pictures? Okay. Bishop Tracy. Yes, we named Bishop Thompson.
Okay, how do we do this?
Well,
Is that your good side?
you'll stand quietly. Hold on to it. All right. Say cheese.
Ready?
Oh, goodness.
Do you want the other commissioners to come around you?
Yes. Yep. Commissioners?
You know, someone else had to invite us up here, wasn't the judge?
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, this is Erica. Erica, you have anything to, you comment?
Yes, so June, as we know now, is Elder Abuse Awareness Month. I work with Protective Services.
on June 15th is World Elder Abuse Day. I encourage you all to wear purple anytime this month, but especially on that 15th, to show solidarity against the abuse against elderly and people with disabilities. And so I want to thank you all for always doing this for us every year. We really appreciate it. We love getting our picture with you yearly. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
But yes, I want to thank you all for everything that you all do and continue to do in our area and in our county. So thank
Yeah.
you.
Well, and I say this almost every year, but in the last 40 years, I've had been in business or as a judge doing probation guardianships and banking. I've been seeing elder abuse go on forever. Many times it's family members that are ones that perpetrate this crime. It's an awful crime against people that have diminished issues, diminished thought process issues and things. And the one I remember the most was, well, two. One was our family doctor's nurse who retired, and I saw her at the teleline getting cash, pretty large amount of cash. And I saw a fellow standing over against the wall. And so I said, his name was Miss Boss. And so, Miss Boss, how you doing? And she said, oh, I'm just kind of need to get some cash. And I'm trying to help my nephew. I said, is that him standing over there by the wall? And she said, yeah, that's him. You help him quite a bit? Yes, I did. So I go over there and talk to him. I said, you know, she's retired, you don't have a job. And started talking, he got nervous and death. And so we filed a report, and sure enough, he had been taking all her retirement for years and years. And another one was a farmer, the tightest guy you've ever met in your life, that when he got older, he got scammed on a phone deal. He'd already written two $25,000 checks out to these group of people. And his son got involved, and he was fixing to do 100,000. They were crooks. And so we helped do it. And then in guardianships, many times, the reason why guardianship is requested is because there's a person that is being abused financially or otherwise, and you know, their mental capacity is challenged by age or other things. And so, you know, we go through the process and ask those questions, and sure enough, many times we had to put some kind of protection around them and find a trustworthy board to be able to get through. So I'm real sensitive to this, and appreciate all the work y'all do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, under D2 is there a motion I make a motion we approve that proclamation?
Second.
Your motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. All right, I'd like to ask for a ratification of a proclamation that was presented to Dr. Dale McCall. It was with the WAMA program, Greater Waco Advanced Manufacturing Program, helped set it up and all. And at the last, we only learned of the recognition like a day before, so we put together a proclamation. I felt confident because the court supports workforce education that they would, y'all would approve this, so don't put me in a jam here, but I'll make a motion, we approve that proclamation.
Second.
Okay, that's second. All right, I just need one more vote. Any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. Thank you. All right, next, I'd like to go to, under the consent agenda right quick. There's some recommended pulls here, E3B, E3C, E3D, E3E, and E3F. Are there any other pulls recommended? If not, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of the previously mentioned? Okay.
Second.
All right, second, we have a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass. I'd like to quickly go to, while Judge Bennett's here, down to E3F, HR matter for 474th District Court. And so, good morning, Judge. Thanks for coming in this morning.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. I'm here today to ask the Commissioners to approve a second official court reporter, full-time court reporter for the 474th District Court. As the Commissioners may be aware, the 19th District Court and the 54th District Court have 2 court reporters each because of the nature of their dockets. The 474th really has 2 dockets because when the Commission approved the Child Protection Court, the CPS cases, and an associate judge to hear those cases, there's a whole separate set of hearings and cases that are before Judge Mikowski, the Child Protection Court judge. And then in the 474th Court, of course, we have our own docket with the juvenile, the civil, and even some felony matters. There is some precedent for having 2 court reporters assigned to a court. Judge Mikowski and I hold our hearings basically at the same time each week, and so you can't have one court reporter in 2 places. What Judge Mikowski has been doing has been using a contract reporter to provide this service, and that creates a lot of difficulties, and I kind of want to go through some of those with you. First off, there's a matter of turnover. She's already on her second court reporter this year. The first one started in February and then up and retired, and so she had to go track down another court reporter. And so in the last several years, she's had several different court reporters, and I can assure you from the Court of Appeal standpoint and from attorney standpoint, when you have multiple court reporters working on a single case, that can be pretty complicated. Secondly, generally, her court reporters have appeared over Zoom. I'm sure some of you have appeared in Zoom meetings sometimes, and they don't always go smoothly. And there's always technical issues and glitches depending on internet connections and a whole host of other matters. But then finally, and most importantly, the current situation is really preventing Judge Mikowski from meeting the 12-month deadline that the legislature intended in these cases. Section 263-401 of the Family Code provides that the case will be given a dismissal date that's basically 1 year after the kids are removed from their homes. And so there's basically 12 months to get these cases resolved. But the statute actually says the final hearing has to commence on or before that dismissal date, that 12-month deadline. And so what Judge Mikowski has to do, because she has limited availability of a court reporter, is they will start that final hearing, maybe hear the testimony of 1 or 2 witnesses, and then they'll recess and reschedule for whenever everyone is available to get back together. So typically there are 3 to 5 attorneys in each of those cases with their own calendars, their own other cases and so forth. And so it can be weeks or months before the hearing is finally resolved, which really defeats the purpose of the statute. Ms. Picazo from Human Resources prepared a memo. I don't know if she provided a copy of that to you all, but she projects that the CPS caseload is going to continue to increase, and she's projected that for 2025. So that just makes the matter even more complicated. If we added a second official court reporter, then Judge Mikowski could have hearings on more days, and she could get these cases resolved in a timely manner as they're supposed to be. So I am asking the commissioners to approve a second official court reporter position for the 474th, whose primary responsibility will be the child protection docket. I anticipate that the district judges haven't met yet to set the salaries for court reporters this year, but I anticipate that that would be something in the neighborhood of $112,000 plus benefits. Judge Mikowski is offering up the $35,000 that's currently budgeted in her for FY26, I should say, for court reporter services. I have proposed a $30,000 reduction in the 474th budget for FY26. So that's about half, maybe a little over half of what we're asking the commissioners to fund for FY26. And during the initial discussions about this proposal, I was going to propose that we start October 1, the new fiscal year. But I had some conversations with Commissioner Perry about this, and also with the turnover that we're experiencing. I would really like to start this sooner than that. And I proposed July 15th. 2.5 months of the court reporter salary would be a little bit less than $23,000. I have $28,000 in the 474th budget that's not going to be spent this year that we could amend the budget and use to pay for FY25 without any additional expenditure that's not already budgeted. And so my request is the commissioners approve this second court reporter position and that it take effect July 15th. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Is Anna on?
And then just a slight correction, I would recommend if approved, the request take effect today so that we could post for applications today. I know we probably won't be able to fill it until July or late July, but if we can make it effective today just for posting purposes.
Okay, all right. Any questions from the court?
Judge, do you have what are the contractors costing us?
The contractors are costing about $35,000. It's a significantly less amount, no question.
Right.
So,
But are you getting the quality?
we're not getting the quality, and we're not getting.
Dependability.
It's getting harder and harder to find.
Yes.
Sure.
And
This has been a real challenge.
Yes, sir.
And I can add to that as well. I had pulled up for Child Protective Court specifically, 2024, the actuals were right at 29,000. This year to date, we're already at 40,000, and we still have 4 months left of this fiscal year. So.
A contractor, are they more like less retired folks that are coming?
they are. In fact, as I understand, the one that started in February, she just up and retired. And so, I mean, she was based in San Antonio, I believe.
Right.
We had one before that was in Kansas somewhere. She's just looking all over the country, literally,
Right.
to find people to fill in temporarily.
Judge, my comment would be,
Go ahead.
I think every one of these are valid reasons, and the one that really got my attention was the statutory deadline. I want us to always be within the guidelines and within the statutory limitations and adhere to those, and I certainly think it's needed, and I support, if we could fill it today, do it.
Okay. All right, and my only comment is I appreciate you going through all of your budgets to see where you could find some money. We don't see that very often, and we appreciate that. The court will remember that for a long time, that, you're trying to work with us, and our challenge is budget, and therefore we want to work with you with your challenges. So
Thank you, Judge.
I'd make a motion, we approve that request.
Effective today.
Yes, sir, effective today.
So,
Also a clarification, just because Judge Bennett mentioned a budget amount, and what I had quoted was the budgeted amount that is currently in place for all court reporters, which is $109,373.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I would second.
Okay, I have a motion, second, any discussion? No discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose, pass. Thank you, Judge.
Go
Thank you all for your support.
Those items for him, I believe, so we can do those as we come to them in the agenda if you'd like to.
All right, that's fine. Let's see here.
We want to go ahead and go to G12 with Tom
Yes.
Ray.
Yeah, Tom's here, so Tom, if you'll come forward. Dustin, if you will, kind of set up the discussion point.
Sure, yes, sir. So G12 is authorization of master engineering and consulting services agreement with Lockwood, Andrews, and Newnham. So as the court's well aware, we have engaged Tom and LAN in a lot of different services related to water. So we thought it would be a good idea to consolidate all these into one agreement, and then to lay out a plan going forward where we would bring separate work orders forward for each component. So the existing agreements we have with LAN for ARPA would continue. There'll be some new areas of ARPA that may be included in this agreement as well. And this would also help with the McLennan County Water Resources Group, the Central Texas Water Alliance legislation that was just passed. So with that, Tom, I'll turn it over to you. So there's no cost associated with this today, but as we move forward, LEN will bring work orders forward for these separate components that will have cost estimates that'll be approved by the court. And so with that, I'll turn it over to Tom.
Thank you, Dustin. Judge, Commissioners, appreciate this opportunity. I think Dustin's got it right. This is for a master agreement where we know there are a number of issues coming up, and some of them are already on the table coming out of this legislative session. We have the Central Texas Water Alliance, and Judge Felton and Judge Blackburn have been backers of that, sponsors actually. So we want to provide some information on that as the judge needs that. A lot of these things have to be defined as far as what the specific scope would be. And what we will do, what a master agreement allows you to do, is to develop a work order, identify those specific scope, and then identify a fee, cost, and put that in the work order, and then bring it back here to the judge and then to the Commissioner's Court for their consideration and approval. It's a convenient, I think, on both sides. We don't go through a full contracting. We've got an overlay contract that we can operate under, and we're able to move pretty quickly on these issues as they come up. And there's several of them. Dustin mentioned them. We need to have another McLennan County Water Resources Group meeting. I think you're familiar with that group. It's been a while since we've done that, and there's some things going on that obviously coming out of the leads this session. So with that, Judge, unless there's questions, that's kind of what we got in mind.
Yeah,
and
one
we
thing.
appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, Tom. One thing, we just in thinking about how we approach all these different issues, that they're, in some ways, are different and separate, but others, when you look at the whole landscape of what we're trying to do with water and be leaders in that, we broke these out into different groups. That way, if activity is getting real low in one area, we can eliminate that and concentrate on the areas that have the most activity, that have different instructions for Tom to address. As you may know, and you mentioned McLennan County Water Resource Group, that is the first entity that was formed at the suggestion of former city manager Wiley Stem, that the county lead this effort because it includes rural water systems. It includes all the municipalities around. It's groundwater. It's, we address groundwater issues, a lot of concentration on that. We address water availability, whether it's treated water coming out of Lake Waco, or potentially Robinson will be a big player in this area, and getting water to those areas that need water, Lorena being one. Working towards, working with Brazos River Authority, where I represent McLennan County on the Brazos G, which is part of the Brazos River Authority piece of it. And so water rights and all those things come into play again. And I think we've kind of at a point in time where the fact that Amy is with us and came out of that city environment also helps us connect more about what they're trying to do. They're the big providers of water, but there's all these other sources that we need to do as well. In regards to the Central Texas Water Alliance, this is a new thing. The legislation gave us authority to create this authority, this alliance, and so now we have to start putting it together. And then inside the county, a lot of times the community interface in many discussions on water, and I need experts to help me be sure I know what I'm talking about, and bringing folks together. Conjunctive use of water is real important, where a good example is eastern McLennan County. where there's an arsenic issue, we're able to work out arrangements with the city of Waco to provide additional water coming into that area to be able to dilute the water down enough that we come in within EPA's requirements. And that was a very important effort in doing that. And then also when it comes to the ARPA situation, we're kind of getting towards the end of it, but we still have a requirement for certain meeting certain deadlines, and we need experts to help us talk to these engineers with these other water supply corporations to make sure they're on task and all that. And that's been some challenges there, and we couldn't have done it without having a third party help us with that, and Tom's been very effective in that. So that's the purpose of this structure. We think this is a cleaner structure than what we've had in the past. It gives us some specifics in different buckets. Any questions anyone have before we?
These pretty much are our water and wastewater related issues in what we're talking
It could be wastewater. So yes, wastewater needs some further development that the city of Waco is working towards. It's such a expensive thing to make it work to its full extent. But yes, that wastewater be that.
wastewater,
Yeah.
okay.
And you know, a lot of it we have, except for the requirements on ARPA to meet deadlines. A lot of it we do not have any authority other than an opinion and calling together groups that are very much hungry to get someone to call folks together to get a consensus on direction, and we're that entity. So, and we have good attendance at the McLennan County Water Resource Group. It's I think the first one we had 73. And all these people were important parts of the water piece of it. They weren't just sitting there visiting. They were here because they were engineers, or they were managers, or city managers, or water departments. I work real close with Lisa Tyre at the city. She also serves on Brazos G. And then we still do some little bit of consulting with Wiley, who's got historical knowledge of all of it. And then, of course, the other issue that's out there is this Bosque River contamination, potential contamination by the dairies, and we want to be sure we keep that Lake Waco, help the city keep Lake Waco clean and pure, because it's really the key to a lot of our industrial growth in the future. Any other questions? All right, what's the pleasure of the court?
Make a motion to approve. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners, appreciate it.
All right, so Dustin, you wanna, I guess what we could do, Anna, if you're prepared, we could go and do those pools that we haven't dealt with yet.
I have your request from the jail. They're requesting to fill a jail clerk position. The position was recently vacated. There is existing PTO on the books for the position, and they want to be able to fill the position prior to paid time off exhaustion. The position was vacated on May 23rd, and it's not set to exhaust the accrued leave until about July 10th. But this is one of two positions that manages these particular jail clerk functions, and the other position is also anticipated to experience a retirement. So that's the reason for the request. They're wanting to have someone who come in and train with the clerk that is still there before they retire.
Any questions? No questions, what's the pleasure of the court?
Motion to approve. Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. All right, next is E3C, HR matter for tax office.
Yes, sir. The tax office is requesting the ability to change the budget of a lead tax specialist position. It's position number 429. It's one of 3 positions of the same title that are performing similar functions. And just the request stems from wanting salary parity between the 3 lead tax specialists. This one that's been highlighted, position 429, is at a lower budget than the other 2. And so the request is to increase it from $57,008 to $58,746, which would match the other 2 lead tax specialists. They would decrease the budget of position 966, which is a tax specialist 2, from $58,746 to $57,008 to account for the increase of the other positions. So it'd be a budget neutral request. And then the decreased salary of the tax specialist 2 position would be in line with all the other budgets for the tax specialist 2 position.
What's the effective date, Anna?
So we would recommend this to begin or take effect the following pay period, which is June 8th.
Okay. Questions?
Motion to approve.
I'll second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass. Next is item E3D under elections. Anna?
Yes, I have here, I'm just highlighting for the court the current salary of the elections administrator position. It's not been adjusted for some time. They've been in the position since January 2021. This is Jared Goldsmith in the elections administrator position. Quite a bit has happened since taking the position, and so I highlight some of those events there. And so the receipt of a SARA certification, a Master of Public Administration, and then he's also gone through a presidential election cycle. And given the pay grade that he is currently in, we would just recommend reviewing the salary for the position within budget to bring that salary closer to those director level positions in the same pay grade. And so that's where this proposed salary is coming from, $112,537, which is within the existing budget. And that would also,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just going to mention the recommended effective date, which is the following pay period as well, June 8th.
Okay. And may remind the court that we discussed this a little bit earlier, and we wanted to see go through this major election, in other words, the baptism of fire. And I have been advised by members of both political parties that Jared is doing an outstanding job, and it's almost impossible to make both those folks happy. And so kudos to him for that. And if there any other questions anyone would have? If not, I'd make the motion that we approve this request effective June 8th.
Second.
Have a motion second. Any other discussion? No discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass. Under E3C, or E, excuse me, is Road and Bridge Precinct 4. Anna?
Yes, we have here, this is our.
Can you speak up a little, Anna?
We're losing you.
We're having a little trouble
Yes,
hearing you.
I'm sorry. I think it's because I'm crumpling a piece of paper.
Okay.
So Road and Bridge Precinct 4 is requesting to rehire a retiree, Jerry Smith, into a full-time foreman assistant position, effective tomorrow, June 4th. The position was posted to the public and accepted applications for the required time by policy. And then the break-in service does also meet the minimum requirements set out by TCDRS, our retirement system. Jerry Smith retired on January 9th of this year. So he does meet that 90-day break-in service requirement, and the precinct wants to hire him into position 499, the foreman assistant position. And Jerry and Commissioner have filled out the required notarized affidavits confirming the break-in service wasn't planned, and so the process has met the policy guidelines.
Okay, any comments, anything, question?
What did Mr. Smith do for you before?
He was the foreman.
Okay, all right.
And then he has a business that he's been running for quite some time.
Yeah.
And over time, he didn't realize how hard it was working in the heat, 12 to 14 hours a day in his business. And so his son's going to end up running the business, and he's.
Well, that's awesome. This is happening to, this is happening to me in precinct 2 also. People are wanting to come back and didn't plan to come back, but they are. And it's great to have that ability and that experience back in your system.
Absolutely, absolutely. So
Any other questions, comments?
if not, I'd make a motion to approve.
That's second.
Motion made and seconded, any discussion? No discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass. Under, thank you, under E3F, we already covered that one, so that's good, so, Dustin, you wanna pick it up from here?
Yes, sir. So we can move on to item F, bids, RFPs, RFQs. F1 is authorization of invoice from Time Clock Plus, renewal of license and hardware support maintenance. I'd like to call on John Carter.
Good morning.
Morning.
Excuse me, this is just a renewal of our Time Clocks Plus, which 10 of the departments use for their automated time entry, for their computer time entry. The total, $2,125.20, and the hardware maintenance of $750.48. That has been reviewed and is recommended for approval.
All right, any questions?
You said 10 departments use it currently, John?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Motion to approve.
All right,
Second.
motion made and seconded, any other discussion? No discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass.
F2 is authorization of quote from Total Office Solutions for 1211 Washington Avenue, Information Technology Department. John?
Yeah, so this quote is for 3 work surfaces and 6 total work surfaces, 3 of one size, 3 of the other. It's for 3 of our support staff. The maintenance department has 3 of the cubicles ready for them to work in. So we decided to go ahead and move those folks down there. And it's not in the 25 budget, but we do have funds within the budget to cover that cost.
That's music to our ear.
Yeah. And this is going in the permanent, this is going to be
Yes,
in
that'll
the
be their
permanent
permanent
side.
location.
Well, good. So you're able to actually move partially into your permanent
Yes.
location?
Yeah, maintenance really did a great job getting it done quickly, and
That's excellent. Okay.
good to go there.
All right, what's the pleasure of the court?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion second, any discussion? No discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass.
Thank you.
Thank you.
F3 is authorization of renewal for bid 22-009, roadside cleanup services, all precincts with all-around maintenance and janitorial. Ken?
Yes, this is a request from All Around Maintenance to extend our agreement with them for the roadside cleanup. We checked with the various road and bridge departments. It seems like they're doing extremely good job. If approved by the court, this would extend our agreement from July 1st, 2025 through June 30th of 2026.
This is the same vendor we've been using for a while, right?
Yes, sir, it is.
Yeah, what's the owner's name, you can recall? Never mind.
I can know it in a minute, but it'll
Yeah.
take me a minute.
Yeah, I'm gonna quit asking questions to anybody over 60. So,
It's appreciated.
It's Floyd Teat.
Yeah, Floyd
All
Teat.
American.
yeah, Floyd T, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
It's been a huge help to us out in the
Amen.
precincts.
Yeah.
Huge.
I don't know where we'd be
He's a
without
good
him.
guy. I couldn't remember his name either. Okay, any other discussion? No other discussion, is there a motion? Did we get-
Motion to approve.
Yeah, okay, I'll second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, pass.
Moving on to item G, contracts and local agreements. G1 is authorization of immunization service agreement with Walgreens Company for hepatitis B vaccinations. Anna?
I'm sorry, my buttons aren't working over here.
Okay, we'll have IT get over there as soon as we're done.
So this request, actually, we were able to work with our existing vendor, so we want to just pull this out with no action.
Okay, pull with no action.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to item G2, authorization of program agreement with Red Wings Brands of America over safety footwear for Road and Bridge Precincts 1 and 4. Commissioner Perry or Commissioner Smith?
We have some safety issues that we wanted to address. For safety purposes, we feel it necessary that some of our crew people wear steel-toed boots or shoes of some sort. And so we've put this agreement in place with Red Wing as far as a voucher program. Of course, they will be, first of all, they have to have our approval to go get the boots. And then through the voucher program, they will be invoiced for those. And there are some identified crew members that we're going to require that they wear the steel-toed boots.
Okay. All right, any other questions, comments? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass.
G3 is regarding the agreement for services with Millard Real Estate Advisors, authorization of invoice for real estate consulting right-of-way acquisition services for 7 Mile Lane Road Bridge Project. Amy?
Good morning. Wait,
Morning.
I'm over 65, so you can't ask me any questions either, right?
I didn't ask that question.
This is going to be very quiet.
So Commissioner Smith did ask me before the meeting about the fact that this is for four instead of 3 parcels when the authorization was for 3. So the explanation for that is that 2 of the parcels are part of a trust, the Glad Trust, but one of them had a deed and the other one they were not able to find a deed. So they couldn't combine it into one, so they had to separate it out into 2.
Okay. Any questions?
So the 4 properties is correct, is what we're approving, and the $10,414.90.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right. And Millard's been doing work for us for a long time. Doing a good job. All right. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Have motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Pass.
Thank you.
All right, if I could read in items G4, G5, G6, and G14 together. These are all authorizations of a memorandum of understanding for different sober living homes. So this is related to the specialty court program, and visited with Judge Swanton and with Amy this morning. They're using that $15,160 in grant funds from the Texas Bar Foundation, where the county will pay for these rent at these facilities and then be reimbursed through those grant funds. Judge Swanton did say his staff has interviewed each of these homes. They're very reputable facilities, and they have done site visits as well. These are good, safe, clean, safe, sober living homes and living arrangements. And so the recommendation from Judge Swanton is for the court to approve these. And again, it's G4, 5, 6, and then G14.
All right, any questions? And this is separate from any behavioral health network programs they have, right?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, any other questions or any questions? All right, I'd make a motion we approve this.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. Thank you.
G7 is authorization of agreement with Waco Citizens Police Academy Alumni Association. This is the presentation we had last week, our last court session, where the court approved the $5,000 for training programs. This is just putting that into an agreement form that states it's a one-time amount of $5,000 for training programs, materials, and other resources that support the Citizens Police Academy classes and community education efforts. And by doing so, that will serve a county purpose. So we just need a motion to approve this agreement.
Yeah, and I want to comment, I know the Sheriff's Department doesn't use this method, but we think training more folks to be law enforcement is good for the overall community. They might be, at one point in time, some point in time later on, be applying for our, some open positions we have, and then go back through our own training program. But I would make a motion to approve this.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
All right, G8 is a intergovernmental agreement, authorization of modification of contract. This is under the United States Marshal Service and ICE. So Major Ives, would you like to present this?
Sure, this is a standard modification for the contract. It is actually going back and redoing something in March that they did erroneously, and it's correcting the erroneous changes that they made for the March modification that they did. So,
Is there any financial impact?
none.
Okay.
No, sir.
All right, thank you. I'll make a motion we approve.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
G9 is authorization of cloud services agreement and related quote with Liftoff LLC for Copilot licensing for Microsoft Office 365. John?
Hello. So this is our first AI project we're looking at. Copilot is the Microsoft version of AI. What we're asking for is 5 of the studio licenses for our developers and admins to get in there and create a chatbot for our intranet. That's our first foray into the AI world. It'll also provide us, we're requesting 10 Copilot licenses, which are just user licenses for folks to try it out for us. We plan to run this for approximately 6 months to see how it works for us. If it works well, then we would talk about expanding that to our actual website for citizens. So the idea here is we build a chatbot that employees can use, and they can search for things like forms, reimbursement forms, policies, procedures, that sort of thing. And it'll keep it internal, so if for some reason we don't like it or if it doesn't seem to be working out, we can just terminate the project and cancel the licenses if we want to.
All right.
Very low cost. It would also leverage our Microsoft 365 licensing we already have.
I agree that we need to track it to see if there's usage during that period of time, to see if it's, I don't have a problem with it as long as it's being used. But,
For its intended purpose.
for its intended purpose, exactly. If people are actually using it to find questions, information, so forth, then I think it's well worth it. If we don't get the usage out of it, then we need to consider not using it. Yeah.
Yes, we can terminate it at any
Terminate it.
time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Any other questions?
Well, and then you will monitor
Yes.
the use and
Absolutely. And we have 6 users outside of IT, so it's not just going to be a bunch of tech people trying it out. We'll have everyone trying it to make sure. it
One guy
works.
using it 100 times.
Yeah, first they'll take over the county and then the world.
Are you going to talk to somebody that's a machine? In other words, is it typed in chat or actual?
Yes, typed in.
Yeah,
you-
typed in.
Much as you'd use ChatGPT or
Right.
Gemini's AI.
Okay.
It'll just be requests from people and it'll return the responses and
Right.
ideally we'll provide them.
Chat
So they're looking
box
for.
stuff. Yeah, okay.
So we pretty much used all of our technical knowledge on these questions, and so much pleasure to court.
motion to approve.
Second.
And motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. I do use it, by the way. And it cleans up my language tremendously.
I get mad at it pretty often, chat boxes.
I have,
I look for the 800 numbers.
she takes care of it.
That's probably a good idea.
Yeah, it is.
All right, Dustin?
G10 is authorization of services agreement with governmentjobs.com doing business as NeoGov for Power Ready subscription, field training officer software for the sheriff's office. Major Ives?
So our FTO and JTO program are currently and have historically been done on paper. All of that is recorded by the FTOs and the JTOs on hundreds and hundreds of pieces of manually filled out paper. And this is a software that we would like to leverage to do that digitally. We do the FTO, JTO program on approximately 100 people per year. We think this is going to be a huge efficiency gain, and we went with this company because the county is already in the NeoGov ecosystem, if you will, and this product seems to be a good product that can be used on laptops. It can be used on cell phones as well. We had IT go through and we tried to use some of the software that the county already has. IT was really good trying to make us something that would do this for us, and it just cannot be done. So we're trying to go with this software that allows us to do that. And I would point out that in this first year, we would recommend, since this is new and we're trying it, that we're going to pay for this from the forfeiture fund.
Okay.
Hey, Major, have you seen anybody else that's been using this type? Other agencies?
In fact, there's a lot of different agencies, Commissioner, and most of them use some digital form. In fact, of the 6 agencies that I checked with, which are some of our partner counties or within our comparison counties, we are the only ones that still did it on paper. And they have had good success with that.
Well, me and Ben went through it. They slapped us on the back of the head. That was, don't do that. That was our field training. No, I'm just teasing. Thank you.
Pretty close.
Yeah. All right, what's the pleasure of the court?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion second, any discussion? No discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass.
G11 is authorization of license agreement with Veritone Incorporated for video audio redaction software for the Sheriff's Office. Major Ives?
This is a renewal for the redaction software we do for open records requests. We do somewhere around 4,000 open records requests. Only about 25–30% of them include audio video, but that is still a lot of audio video to process, and this is the only software that we have to do those redactions.
All right, questions?
That's like 300 plus a month you get requests.
That is correct, sir. It is arduous.
Yeah. Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion second, any discussion? No discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass.
All right, moving down to G13, authorization of customer service agreement with RW Lone Star Security for shredding services for Jack Harwell Detention Center, Highway 6 Jail, and the Sheriff's Office. Ken?
This is our attempt to pull 3 separate agreements under one umbrella, under one agreement. And so we're renewing a couple of them early where we're pulling in and renewing one that we renewed earlier in the year, but it puts them all under one umbrella so that we're renewing 3 separate agreements all at one time.
So, we do a lot of shredding at archives as well. Is this similar to the same company or different?
We use a different company, I believe, for.
So how does it compare in price?
I'd have to go back and check that for you. I believe the one at archives will come in with like their own stuff and shred it. This is just
providing
containers that we're putting it in. And
okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you. I understand. All right. I'll make a question
to do it all under one.
Yeah. If they, we might look at that.
The price is good.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I make a motion we approve this under G I3, or G13.
Second.
All right, have a motion second, any discussion? No discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass.
Moving down to item G15, authorization of lease agreement with Pitney Bowes for a mailing machine for elections. So either Jared or Ken, would y'all like to cover this?
I guess I could talk about it real quick. So our current mailing machine, our postage machine, is not IMI compliant, which is a new regulation for mailing. And what we need to do is we need to get our old machine up to a new machine that's compliant. This is the machine that we use to put postage on our mail-in ballots or any kind of correspondence that we send to our voters. And so, yeah, it's going to go on our current contract. And then I believe our contract expires at the end of September, which we will have a new contract at that point.
All right, any questions? What's the pleasure of the court?
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Judge, the next 6 items are all invoices that Amy and the engineering's office is overseeing. You want me to read those all in and you can just step through them one by one?
Yes, please.
So H1's the South Old Bruceville Road culvert replacement project. H2's the Old Springfield Road Waterline Improvement Project. H3 is Chapel Road Improvements. H4 is another on Chapel Road Improvements. H5 is another on the Old Springfield Road Water System Improvements with Langerman Engineering. And H6 is Fern Valley Road Low Water Crossing Improvements. So Amy?
On any of those, just to update you on South Old Bruceville, the contractor received the notice to proceed for this week, so they should be starting shortly on that project. Instead of doing precast culverts, they're going to do cast in place because they've had problems with the precaster getting things done. So that should be starting shortly, so we can finish in time for the school year.
Excellent. Excellent. All right, any questions?
A lot of projects.
Yes, yes, it is.
Judge, motion to approve H1 through H6.
Thank you.
Second.
Have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Pass.
Thank you.
Thank you.
H7's regarding the Justice of the Peace Precinct 5 Office Edition fee proposal from CPNY doing business as STV, authorization of professional service invoice for April 2025. Ken?
Yes, this invoice is in the amount of $1,388.50. And it again, just designed for the JP5. And I'll share that the JP5 bid goes out Thursday.
Excellent.
All right, any questions?
Motion to approve H7.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Pass.
All right, moving on to item I, budget amendments. I1 is regarding the FY25 budget. Francis?
I will cover budget amendments for FY '25, and starting with I1A. This is a budget amendment in the general fund for the engineering office. The request is to move funds within that department into furniture and equipment, and this will allow them to purchase an iPad and related accessories to replace the digital camera that they're currently using. I1B, this is Fund 170, Law Library Fund, Special Revenue Fund. The request is to increase the line item for legal reference materials for JP3, and that comes out of the contingencies in that fund. Those funds are to be used primarily for that specific purpose, legal reference materials. And that should cover their cost for the remainder of the fiscal year. I1C, this is General Fund JP Precinct 4, requesting to move within that department into furniture and equipment. This will allow them to purchase a camera for the courtroom. IT has assisted them in obtaining a quote from Extraco, and that is attached as well. I1D, this is General Fund JP Precinct 5, requesting to move within that department to increase supplies and professional development for cost for the remainder of the year. I1E, this is General Fund Road and Bridge Precinct 2, requesting to move within that department to increase the line item for uniform rentals for cost for the remainder of the year. I1F, General Fund for Specialty Courts Department. This is a request from the countywide contingency to increase the furniture and equipment in their department, and this will cover furniture for the new space that you approved in the annex building for that office. I-1G, this is General Fund AgriLife Extension. This is a request to move funds within that department into furniture and equipment. This was a request they were going to place in the 2026 budget. It'll allow them to buy tables and chairs for the classroom portion of their building. But there's some needs this summer that if they go ahead and buy that now, those chairs and tables will be available. So they're requesting, and they have the funds within their department. I'd also just like to hover on this one for just a sec. No, I'm sorry. Go back to the last one. I missed it. Yes, sir.
I'm
Yes,
so
ma'am.
sorry. AgriLife is supposed to come from contingency.
Contingencies, okay, that's what I was.
bad.
No, so that line item is incorrectly listed, but the amount is correct. And that's what I was gonna point out. It says other services and charges, it should be contingencies. But we started with 1.5 million in contingencies this year is what we budgeted. We have just right under 1.2 still remaining. So we're pretty far away into the year, and that's all we've utilized up to this date. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to point that out as well.
And that's for that new class or that additional area that they're.
Yeah, and I was gonna point out, sometime in this discussion that that's available to us. So thanks for bringing it up. But sometimes when we need like a little retreat deal or do something where we don't do it here in the courthouse,
Excellent.
that's another spot that we can use. So, if
And if it's okay, I did want to point out Shane was going to request those or may have requested those in the FY26 budget. And Francis, you may have said this. So I'm sorry if you did. And so the request was going to be there for FY26, but with the need for this summer with the North and East, that's why the request is coming now.
Okay. And, like we use emergency management time to this be another spot too. We appreciate having that opportunity. All right?
It'll be utilized.
Yeah.
It'll be utilized.
No kidding, no, yeah. All right?
And then just one more, I-1H, this is General Fund, Road and Bridge Precinct 1, requesting to move within their department into repair and maintenance for cost for the remainder of the year.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions regarding I-1A through I-1H? If not, what's the pleasure of the court?
Move to approve I-1A through I-1H.
Second.
Motion made, second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
And I-2 is regarding the FY26 budget.
So I'd like to touch on a couple things for the 26 budget. Nothing too much detail, but we have what we always call the budget binder for y'all today. And so I'll go through just some information that's in there, but we also just give it to you so that you can stick all the paperwork that's
Wait, are
handed
those
to you.
pink?
They are.
They are. Aren't those nice looking?
It was all that was available.
Oh, yeah, blue was last year, so this.
You know why they were available?
Wasn't it blue last year?
It was turquoise. We've had gray, turquoise.
I know, we've changed, yeah. That's
Wow.
Keeps it fresh.
I thought it
definitely shows up.
Is this a reveal party or something like that? Who's having a girl?
Not me. So to go through a couple things, and we'll give you additional paperwork through workshops to stick in there if you want. We'll also send it, of course, electronically, so just depending on how you like to keep up with the paperwork. But just that first tab, I see you probably all have it open there. There's the calendar that we've been looking at for some weeks now, but just a copy of it in there for quick reference. Directly behind there is a calendar for the month of July. And so I think we all know that those workshops in July are very fluid. Sometimes a discussion takes much less or much more time than we anticipate. And so we will just work through things as they come up and be ready to move on to the next item whenever that occurs. And so just to remind you, regular agenda on July 1st, and then we planned on starting workshops that day with like a high-level overview. And again, that's up to you and your schedules as well. You will have already had a couple of weeks to look at the request. And so we'll, like again, just look at a high level information there just to prepare us for the deeper conversations. And then we can come back that Wednesday afternoon if you'd like to continue. We could go ahead and get into request as well. We could go ahead and start maybe personnel or operating that day. But just have those blocked out in green. The green is the times I planned on meeting. And then we move into that next week. And so we'll start 9 o'clock on Tuesday, July 8th. And so I've plugged in some topics into those days, but again, very fluid. But you'll see there, we'll work through personnel request, operating request, capital outlay, road and bridge discussions, economic development, outside entities. And my goal is that by the end of that week, that we will have at least touched on everything. For your purpose, that you have heard all the requests, that we've touched on them briefly. And my goal for ourselves is that we will know what your questions and concerns are so that we can get answers for those and bring those answers back to you the next week. And so then coming back that next week, regular agenda on the 15th, and then we'll go right back into workshops. And so we'll just clean up any lingering items from that previous week, bring departments in that you had further questions, and then we'll also go through other funds, permanent improvement funds, special revenue funds, those other items that are kind of layered on, TCDRS, COLA, and so we'll make sure those are all checked off. And then our goal at the end of that week is to walk away from here and know what the intent is for a proposed budget. No reason we cannot amend that through the month of August, but that way that'll give us that down week of the 21st to put that proposed budget together and have that ready to go when we come back on the 29th. I have there to vote on the proposed rate and file the proposed budget on the 29th, but depending on the certified values, when those are received and when the rates are calculated, we may need to recess until that Wednesday afternoon. It will be hard to know until closer to time. So that is what July looks like for us.
And I would mention that if you have questions about maybe asking for some analysis on something you're thinking about, get that to Frances as soon as you can, and she'll put some folks on it. I've got one I want to talk to you about later on, but where they can go back, I can compare. She does a lot of it anyway, comparative analysis from prior years and all that. But especially if you're thinking about maybe considering doing something a little different than what we've done in the past in regards to anything. And, they'll help you be prepared for that going into the deal. So, Commissioner.
Are you going to use chatbot to ask those questions?
Well,
I'm just wondering, I'm just curious.
That's a good idea. She might understand what I'm asking better.
She'll probably give a better answer than me.
Well, and I found out yesterday, I can take my request and put them in terms that Mark Twain would use to ask the question.
I'd understand it.
So, anyhow.
Well, to piggyback off that comment, it's either the next or next after that tab. It says budget binder in your notebook. And so that is about a 50-page document, and it has a lot of this historical information there.
Yeah. We can do our analysis ourselves.
Well, we're happy to pull you that, but it's there. I think it's a good reference, especially if you have taxpayers that call or other people in the community that call and ask questions. You can quickly find some information. Of course, always call us as well if needed. I was kind of thinking about trying to focus on some of the charts and graphs and information in this packet, but it's just a lot of information to digest for a PowerPoint. So I would just recommend you go through that information. If you have questions, call us, email us. We'll be happy to walk through it. I wanted to just point out a few references throughout it. So on page 9 of that packet, this is a summary of tax rate history and certified values. Can you see, did you find that?
One back.
Yeah, there you go. And so, again, as you're talking through things, thinking through things, again, call us anytime, but this just gives you a good review of the last 8 years, and what those values and adopted tax rates looked like. So just a quick reference there. On page 24, there's a lot of information in this packet about personnel cost, which I think is such a large part of our budget. That's where our discussions usually center around. And so on page 24, I think just that down there on the bottom section, really both of those tables, but that bottom section is what our over-under amounts look like for general fund for personnel cost. And so that's something we've been studying very closely, especially the last couple of years, and made some moves to try to get those numbers more in sync with the vacancy factor that we utilized last year. So we'll be revisiting that, but again, just every page is very good information, but just a few things I wanted to point out. On page 27, on the bottom of page 27, again, just a very quick reference as you're having thoughts and we begin discussions. This is the COLA that has been awarded for the last 9 years, including this current year. So again, just as we think through that, what those have looked like. Kind of in conjunction with that, on page 29, this will show our retirement rates, contributions, retiree COLAs, and give you a history of those as well. So no, those are questions I always have to reference it to. I can never remember those off the top of my head. So again, what years we changed the employee contribution rate, when we gave payment or when we made additional payments to TCDRS for debt, and then when the retiree COLAs hit. Page 38 and 39, and again, I know I'm walking through these fast, but these were just some things that I just wanted to point out. 38 and 39 focuses on capital outlay cost over the years by types of capital outlay, so divided between vehicles, software, road and bridge equipment, and then it also breaks it out between the funding sources. And so, and then the page following has the number of vehicles that we've purchased each year. And so again, I know that's something we always have that question come up. And so again, at a quick glance, just to review over a period of years, the amount and number of pieces of capital outlay that we have purchased. And there's some outliers in a lot of these numbers. You'll see numbers that you're like, wow, that's a big increase, but it's just timing of things, and we can always give you an answer as to why numbers may look out of whack from one year to the next. And then I promise this is the last one I'll point out. On page 40, page 40 covers some debt service information, and I just wanted to point this out because I know on the next agenda, you'll be voting on that new certificate of obligation. And so this is just a review of where our current debt issuances stand as far as the amount outstanding, the year of maturity, and then at the bottom of that sheet, how our INS rate has changed over the years. And, as we usually talk about, and Mark McCliney assists us with, trying to keep that rate steady. Of course, our taxable values are increasing, but trying to keep that as constant as possible while still supporting our capital needs through the bond issuances. So again, a lot of information packed in this packet. So again, just if you want to go through it, and then, like the judge mentioned, call us if you want something different. Call us if you have questions. If you want to sit down and look at it together, we're happy to do that as well. So. But again, just something I think to assist jumping into budget in July. Any other thoughts or questions, concerns about budget, 2026 budget workshops, or any other thoughts you may have?
Any questions? All right, that looks good. All right, Dustin, do we need any action for recording purposes or anything?
No, sir, we don't need anything on it.
All right, thank you. Okay.
All right, ready to move on. All right, we have nothing under item J this week. Under item K, grants and grants proposals. K1 is our ARPA discussion. K1A is regarding the professional services agreement with Forvis Mazars. Authorization of grant management service invoice through April. This invoice totals $7,654.46. It's been reviewed and is recommended for approval.
All right, any questions? All right, I'll make a motion we approve.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Pass.
K1B is regarding the McLennan County ARPA HVAC renovation project. Agreement with Lock Ridge Priest. Authorization to pay application number 5. Ken?
Yes, I visited with TJ, and we're both good with this pay application in the amount of $2,127,806.30.
Okay, any questions? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. All right, I have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Pass.
Under item L, Department Office Specific Request, L1 is purchasing authorization of online auction with Renee Bates related ad and order declaring certain property as surplus and authorizing disposition of same. Ken?
Yeah, I believe Garrett's doing a good job of putting these auctions together as quickly as, but we have 34 lots ready to go. And if approved by the court, the auction will begin on June 5th and run through June 19th.
Are these online, or are they?
They're online with Renee Bates, yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, any questions? Any other questions?
Do we give this list out to the other departments, so if there's anything they might want to look at, see if they want to use? How do they have access to this, Ken?
All they have to do is call our office and we'll meet them over there.
I mean, they see the list ahead of time?
We don't specifically send this list out to everybody, that we just bring it to the court. Some of this stuff has been sitting there forever.
I understand that. I understand that, yeah. Some of it's obviously not worth looking at to start with, but I didn't know if we gave the other departments the opportunity to look and go see if it's something they might could use.
We get phone calls, and we're always willing to meet people down there if they have a request.
Particular need? Okay.
Yes, and I will tell you, for the most part, what we have won't fill their need.
So like somebody needs a weight for a fishing boat or something, like a, okay.
That might work.
Anchor or something, okay.
Okay. Any other questions on that? If not, is there a motion to approve the proceeding with this sale?
So move.
Second.
Motion made second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
All right, moving on to item M. Item M1 is selection designation of public members of the Salary Grievance Committee regarding the FY26 budget. And Mercedes, do we need to draw more names today?
Yes, Dustin, we'll need to draw additional names today.
All right.
We have 8 accepted, Mercedes, is that correct?
We have 8.
How many do we need?
We need at least 9, but we'd like to also get some alternates as well, so, yeah.
Seems like we're doing pretty, given our past history, I think we're doing really well.
How many we drawn today?
9.
9 today, okay. Jim Smith.
Fortunately, there's a whole bunch of those Jim Smiths.
Vanessa Myers. Eric Garibay.
Okay.
Garibay. Neil Karamanyan.
That's why I mowed last night.
Alex Hannon. Brian Bergen. Robert Woods. How many? 3. Elizabeth Stinnett.
You know, if Ben would only draw names that accepted, we'd be through with this. You know it? I don't know.
Lucretia Furlew.
One more.
One more. Who's the lucky one?
Don't back him in a card game.
Kenneth Kirkpatrick.
Good job. All right.
All right, so no action needed there, so we move on to item M2, and this is our host court night discussion. Judge, I'm not aware of anything today since we took care of that budget amendment related to the tables and chairs.
Okay.
So moving on to M3 regarding the McLennan County Local Provider Participation Fund, ratification of commitment, declaration of intent for intergovernmental transfer regarding comprehensive hospital increase reimbursement program, the CHIRP program. Heather?
Yes, sir. So this is just one last piece of business from last month. It's a ratification for the commitment for the CHIRP program year 5 notification that we submitted. So just asking for ratification.
All right, any questions? I'll make a motion, we approve ratification of the CHIRP funding commitment.
Second.
I have a motion second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, pass.
Thank you.
M4 is discussion and or action regarding an electronic timekeeping system implementing Tyler Technologies time and attendance module. Francis?
Yes. So we have discussed this, I know, several times. We've continued discussions with our office and IT and HR, and just still feel very strongly about this piece of software that we'd like to utilize. So just to give you an overview, so currently we utilize a system called Time Entry. And that is how we gather all the time worked each pay period. So departments are manually inputting the time worked information into that system, and then they provide paper timesheets as backup for the most part. So once audited, the information is then transferred from the time entry piece into our payroll system, and then that's where we start, of course, the payroll process. So I would like to move forward with the transition from the time entry piece to another Tyler product, and it is called Time and Attendance. So on an accounting and payroll side of things, the module has increased functionality for the offices involved in the payroll process, including our office, of course, treasurer's office, HR. So many of the payroll process currently using the time entry module, they are done manually because we don't have a portal that has the capability to house some of the information we need. Some examples of that are night pay differential, positions that have to account for certain hours worked in relation to a grant. And so that new system would allow us to more electronically process those pieces of information through payroll. So moving to a system like this, it will help us keep our Tyler platform as a whole up to date. You've invested significant funds recently in the last couple of years to improving technology in general. And so I feel that we really need to keep our platforms up to date in order to get the most benefit from that investment. We've had our Tyler financial system, of course, for a while, but keeping that up to date is important. So depending, the function of each office, needing equipment or software to keep running efficiently is important. And so for our office, software is extremely important to our day-to-day operations. So that is on our side. On the department side of things, departments can continue to operate as usual. I know we'd already let you know that. So you can keep time logs within offices, prepare the paper timesheets, and have someone input those into the time and attendance system, just as we are doing now. However, if a department chooses to, this new system does have the capability to allow offices to electronically track all the payroll information with a lot of other capabilities for that department. They'd also be able to electronically approve and then submit that information if they chose to do so. So Again, a lot of advantages there, but still up to the department on how they account for and provide us that information each pay period. Specifically, the sheriff's office is currently interested in this product for electronic time capturing for their department. Their employee count for all departments under their umbrella account for about 44% of total employees. So a pretty large piece there. We have 14% of our employees that utilize the Time Clocks Plus module. And so if we move to something like this, they would transition to the time and attendance module. And then last year, HR did a survey of departments who was interested, and in addition to Sheriff's Office, and then those offices on Time Clocks Plus, an additional 11% of departments were interested at that time as well. Again, just a survey that was done. So in total, that's about 70% of employees in total. Budget-wise, we have this, or you had budgeted for this, there was $44,000 placed in the budget for this fiscal year. And so I included in the packet a little breakdown of the first year costs. So of course, the first year is always different than the years following. But that amount we budgeted would cover the annual SAS fees as well as some equipment needed for the sheriff's office and juvenile. And then the one-time cost, that's a max amount number of that $47,200. We would hope that it would not reach that max, but that would span over probably a couple fiscal years just based on implementation. And so if any of the departments involved want to make any other comments on that, IT or HR or Sheriff's Office, but if not, I'm just here today to request that we continue the move towards obtaining a contract with Tyler to move forward with that time and attendance product. Happy to answer any questions or thoughts.
Okay, so we just approved a renewal with Time Clock Plus for, I guess, SO and our 10 total departments, correct?
Yes, it does not include the Sheriff's Office.
Okay, does not include the sheriff's
No.
office. So this would go away then? Once we transition, this cost would go away?
Correct,
Okay.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that licensing, it's due June 27th. We couldn't get it with that.
I understand. Yeah, I understand that. But it eventually will go away.
Yes, sir.
And the system we currently use for SO will go away eventually, correct?
They're doing mostly paper time.
They do all. There's no software they use for that. It's all.
SO, there's not?
No.
Okay.
And in the packet too, there was a memo written by Major Ives as well. Just kind of.
Yeah, he supports it
Yes.
entirely. I understand.
Yeah.
Paperwork.
And those are the
will be
most,
voluminous within-
complex schedules, of course, as well.
Yeah.
Many employees in those departments.
Questions? I know our office would use it. We have 5, but,
I've been drugged grudgingly this direction. And I would support going ahead and moving forward with what we need to do. So
all right.
I'm probably the last card to fall in place. So,
Oh, is that a motion?
yes, sir.
All right, I'll second. Any other discussion? Discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
Thank you.
All right, M5 is authorization of refund requests for overpayment of real estate taxes. Tax office submitted this request for CoreLogic tax services totaling $7,433.03. And just as a reminder, only those overpayments or erroneous payments in excess of $2,500 come to the Commissioner's Court for approval.
And we're consistent on how we're looking at these every time.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Make a motion to approve.
All right, have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass.
And on M6, Chris is on her way over, so we can move down to M7.
Okay.
Discussion and interaction on order regulating certain fireworks in unincorporated areas of the county. This is the order for July 4th. The statute provides that the order must be adopted before June 15th each year of for the 4th of July holiday. If you wish to prohibit or restrict the sale of fireworks defined as skyrockets with sticks, we must adopt this order before that date. Reagan had checked with emergency management, and they have no issue moving forward with just with the usual warnings on fireworks in general. So,
All right, any questions?
So no motion means we allow them.
that's correct.
I didn't see any problems with Memorial Day weekend. I know we had a lot of rain and but,
That's the key, just to be able to react if conditions change.
Yeah.
So, all right, so no action needed?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, so moving on to item M8, it's ratification of letters of support to City of Waco, Department of Public Works for Texas Department of Transportation grant funding. This is for a 2025 project for the Transportation Alternative Set Aside Program. So the city had reached out and requested letter of support for this. It had to do with 2 different sidewalk projects in Waco. Letters were needed back by the end of May, so we're just seeking ratification of those letters of support.
Okay, any questions on that? If not, I'll make a motion we approve.
Second.
And have a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
Nothing under item N this week. Under item O, McLennan County Downtown Jail Remodel. O1 is regarding the construction manager at risk agreement with John Irwin. O1A is recording of payment and performance bond endorsement for initial guaranteed maximum price number 2. So what's before you is just recording of that payment and performance bond, and shows the increase when we approve the IGMP number 2. So we just need a motion to accept those for recording purposes.
All right, is there a motion to accept those for recording purposes?
So move.
Second.
All right, have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
O2 is authorization of fire pump use agreement with the city of Waco, and I believe this may need to be deferred again. Is that correct, TJ? Judge, I believe it needs to be deferred.
All right, I make a motion we defer.
Second.
I have a motion second. Any other discussion? No discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
O3 is regarding the McLennan County downtown jail remodel agreement with Langerman Engineering, authorization of invoice. This is an invoice on their construction materials testing for the jail remodel. It totals $10,297.50, been reviewed and is recommended for approval.
All right, any questions?
Move to approve.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Any other discussion? I'll second. No, any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
And that should leave M6, the Greater Waco Chamber Monthly Economic Development Report, as our only action item remaining, Judge.
Okay, so I would like to go into recess for 10 minutes, and when Chris comes, we'll come back into open session, but then we'll quickly go. I think she wants to have part of her presentation in executive session under regarding economic development negotiations under Q5, which is section 551.08. All right, let's recess for 10 minutes.
10th.
Would it go too fast?
Okay.
Oh, there's a ton of people out there and hard to find a parking spot.
It's frustrating.
Just another day for y'all.
Not raining yet, is it?
Judge just said I could
It's coming.
Zoom it if we have a,
Recording in progress.
I just hate to miss.
No, keep,
I don't ever miss.
oh, we know. We'll see what we can, kind of condense.
Okay,
the
let's
data.
call court back into session. At this time, I'd like to go into executive session under section 551.08 of the government code regarding economic development negotiations and other things pertaining to economic development. So,
Judge?
Yes.
Judge, I'm sorry. Did we want to do the report first? That way we could let the interpreters go and then just
Yeah,
finish with the executive session?
yeah, thank you. All right, hold off on going into executive session. And so first of all, Chris Collins here with the chamber to go over the activity reports and other things. And then after that, I assume you still want to go into executive session. Okay. All right.
We're going M6 now? M6, that's,
Yeah.
okay, M6, okay.
Yes, sir.
Well, good morning. Thank you for making time for me today. I appreciate it. You have in your packet our monthly economic development report for the month of April. We did have a very active month for that, for the month of April. Year-over-year comparison for our attraction inquiries, we had 34 attraction inquiries year-to-date through 2024, April of 2024, and year-to-date 2025, that number was 47. So pretty large bump in the number of attraction inquiries. Proposals that were submitted and out the door, 27 in 2024 versus 39 in 2025. We haven't had quite as many site visits this year as we did last year, but a lot of those were because we were working through a lot of things with Electrolit, and so we were visiting with them very often. But still, we've had 21 site visits for the year. Our business retention program, we've had 29 visits through the end of April, and I know that Lexi is continuing to push really hard to get more and more visits with our existing businesses. We had a great corporate appreciation event last week. So we want to make sure that we are showing appreciation to businesses and industry in our marketplace. So every other year, we swap. So last year, we did an industry appreciation event for the for the construction industry, and we partnered with the local chapter of the Association of General Contractors and went to a variety of different construction sites and just said thank you to the guys that are out there, guys and gals that are out there every day working to build the community. We passed out candy bars and sodas and drinks, and just to let them know that somebody recognizes that they're working hard and that the community appreciates them. So that was 2024. 2025, what we did, we like to recognize the corporate executives and companies that continue to invest in the community. So we were able to partner with the Chamber and the Industrial Foundation to host a corporate appreciation event. And our special guests, we try to bring in a special guest speaker for every year. And we've had a great lineup of executives over the year that share their thoughts on leadership and what's happening in the economy and whatnot. And we had President Lori Logan. She is the president of the Dallas Federal Reserve Bank. She was our guest speaker last week and had a great fireside chat with her to learn about what they're working on, what are the things that the Fed foresees related to the economy, as much as she can talk about those things. But really a great opportunity for us to just say thank you to those corporate executives that continue to invest in our community. And so we're doing things beyond just the traditional visits that we do. We're doing additional outreach programs to make sure that our existing businesses understand how important they are to the strength of our community. So I wanted to just share that was a little new thing that we've been doing it for quite a while, but new thing that happened last week.
The latest thing.
Yes, the latest thing. We have a couple of projects that are really pushing forward related to our economic development work. Continuing to see a lot of things related to manufacturing in the marketplace. And, and I talked about this the last time I was here, but we continue to see opportunities related to foreign direct investment. I think people are just holding off on the sidelines a little bit, waiting to see what the final rules are going to look like. That's still to be determined. So I would just say the pipeline continues to be strong. Everybody anticipates that once there's a little bit more surety in the market about how they need to play the game, then they're going to be ready to pull the trigger, and we're going to see a large influx of new projects coming into the area. So with that, I'd be happy to entertain any other questions that y'all might have or comments or.
My only comment would be that if you want to call it a lull or a little activity kind of a little quieter right now, it's primarily due to the questions that are out there regarding tariffs and interest rates.
Yes, sir.
And, but the good thing is that we're like a 35-year low on inflation rate, which is outstanding. All the drivers that cause these companies on the east and west coast to look for another place to go in Texas and Florida and places like that are still there. The high tax states, the high regulation states, they're still doing the same thing they've been doing. It's driving away industry. And we have to continue focusing on a skilled workforce, adequate natural resources, water primarily, and being able to, industrial foundations stay active in acquiring property that, for future development, and all those things. So I know the importance that the chamber has put on our behalf to even look outside the country for a lot of inquiries around German-owned companies. We've got numerous German companies here. Mexico City remains active because a lot of those they're global. They just happen to be in Mexico City. Are still there. I'm feeling very, very confident that we're going to see this as soon as these tariff negotiations iron out. As you mentioned, the president of the Fed was very hesitant on mentioning anything about interest rates, but at some point in time, those will be more stable. And, the 10-year Treasury is still, if you look at it, it's at a reasonable rate right now that you could, if you compare it to what interest rates were in other times, it's, well within reason. So I think we keep on keeping on like we're doing. So, all right.
I would say I'm pleased that Beth Wooten has been such an integral part of economic development for us with TSTC. I see that as being very, very important.
Yep.
She can step up right there and say, yes, we can provide you with the skilled workforce you need. Tell us what you need, and we'll gear up and get it. I think that's great, the relationship that TSTC has with us.
Yeah, they're a fantastic partner, as are all of our higher education partners. It's great, when we were on that trip, great to be able to see Beth in action. She was right there in the mix of it, and there was nothing that she saw that gave her pause about the capabilities of the college. So.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So at this time, I'd like to go under.
Take action.
Pardon me?
You take action on the.
Okay, is there a motion to approve Chris's report for recording purposes?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion, second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, passed. This time, I'd like to go under executive session under 551.08 regarding the economic development negotiations and other matters. And I'd like to ask that Dustin stay in for the discussions. we drive economic incentive by having a low tax rate as well, so. Yeah, but that deal with that third-party consultant, y'all are using is, need to have a discussion.
Probably should just have, Jim come by for a visit.
Yeah, all right, well, I really think, what it ought to be is, get, Kevin and, Chris Collins and, we'll set it up, go by his office or whatever, we'll set up something.
Free tomorrow afternoon. I'll be there. I don't know what they want from us.
Recording in progress.
All right, let's call the court back into session. Anything else to come forward, court? Mercedes, did we get everything taken care of?
Yes, you did.
Dustin?
Yes, sir.
All right, nothing else, we stand adjourned.
Thank you.